Karen Burchill, Creative Katie, and today it's going to be all about stamps. I'm in the process of kind of reorganizing my stamps, so I thought I'd just turn on the video and share some of these things with you. So first off, this is a Sterilite container. It has 3 tiers that I have most of my stamps in, or I'm working to get most of my stamps, including my homemade stamps, into this. So when I want, I can just pull this out. The rest of the time it's in the cupboard, far away. It allows for some organization that makes sense to you and how you do your work. I have all my letter stamps or word stamps on the top, so that I can easily grab them. I took off my script stamp off my block because I want to be able to have it. And with the big block, that just made for bulk. And since I use this all the time, it made sense to me to put it in here. So those are those stamps. Then in the next level, I have other purchase stamps that I've kept on the wooden block for the most part, and I use them as they are. At some point in time I may decide to take them off the wooden one, but for now I have room for everything, and I don't spend a lot of money on my stamps. I check out the Michael's Dollar Bin. A lot of these come from there. Some of these I've inherited, you know, and I've bought a few ones, but most of the ones that I bought are like that script stamp or like the dot stamp that are kind of background stamps, or they have swirls and designs that are very neutral that you can use for throughout the year, various themes, various pages. So kind of stamp neutral. And again, I've taken it off. You can see why I wouldn't want that big block. There's no way I would be able to store or take all my stamps with me if I wanted to go somewhere. And in the bottom, I did have all my embossing stuff, and I've moved that into something else because I don't emboss a whole lot, and I'm finding that I am wanting to do a lot more with my homemade stamps. So I have lots that are either mounted on foam core, and these were die cuts that Yvonne cut out of Fun Foam with her Big Shot, I believe. So again, we have some designs and swirls and very neutral stamp, a swirl stamp that I've made, and I've actually mounted this on one of the cheap dollar stamps that I got at Michael's that I'm not using a whole lot, so I took it off the block, and then I can put my foam on the block. So that's kind of what goes in there. So I also have, so I talked about taking off the block, taking off some of the stamps off the blocks when they're too big, or it doesn't deserve the real estate. So I have those, but you can also, and I've recycled those, what you can also use, and I am using, is some teacher stamps. Now I am, you know, a retired or a retiring teacher, so I have lots of wooden stamps. I had some stamps that I've now used for my Delusions paints that were colored, that were the perfect size for that. So they have found their way into that purpose. So I've just kept these blocks. And sometimes when I have a stamp, this is just a piece of shelf liner. And I have some shelf liner that I can use, and I can stamp like this to get a more random one. But I can also do something a little bit more precise with on the back of a block. So that works really well. I've also taken, I'm not going to be able to find it right now, some Fun Foam pieces that I have that I've put on that I can stamp. So again, you can, the variety is only as far as your imagination goes. So I have those, and I want to keep all those because I'm finding I'm using that more. This was from a plastic ball, as was this one. So again, this was mounted on foam core. This one's on there. So you can see how nice that would be to be able to stamp somehow randomly on a page. So putting it on, backing it to the wooden stamp because it did have a curve makes sense. So I'm basically going to be filling this up, taking some of my stamps that I have previously put on medication bottles on the lids. So I have purchased, you know, for $1, all these fun foam ones, and I've got flowers, and then I have some sea ones. So if you do that, like, share. I gave Yvonne some, but what I want to do is basically take these off of here because, again, that's bulky. I can do maybe something a little bit better. This is a square stamp that I got from Yvonne, and I have a couple of Stampendous stamps that basically have 4 of their sides have stamps. So for real estate, this is great. So you can go and buy a block. I'm just taking these off. It's all kind of Hawaiian, and it's, again, not something I'm going to use a whole lot. So I'm going to use the block, rip off the plastic to reclaim it. And what I'm going to do is put 4 of my flower stamps. I've got 5 different stamps, so maybe I'm going to put 6. So I've got 6 sides. So, you know, I might just put them one on each side of that. Instead of having all this, I'm going to have one block. So let's just move this aside. And I dug out my flowers, so I'm just going to hope that I have extras of all of them. So there's 1, 2, and the color, of course, doesn't really matter. That one, that one. Okay, so now it's just a matter, since it's all peel and stick, it's just a matter of punching out the holes. Removing that and sticking it on the block. So, and if it doesn't stick, you can use, you know, either Aleene's Original Tacky Glue, or if you want something industrial strength, Gorilla Glue works really well for that. And I've used Gorilla Glue for gluing some of my fun foam that doesn't have a stamp. So I'm just going to very quickly do this. Yes, we're going to quickly do it because and we have that one. So again, this whole thing is costing me pretty much nothing. And I can use this both in my jelly prints and press in, or I can use it on my journal page. So let's give this a try. Okay, So most of the time I would be applying acrylic paint to this because that is my favorite, but the ink will also work, as you can see. So some craft paint because never say die. So and I love getting the different shades and the imperfection of the stamp. I just love that. And then you can kind of doodle around that if that's what you like to do. So instead of having all of these, I now have one. So these can go back into the recycle bin to be done for something else. So one thing that I liked was having this, and I do have a couple other pieces of different kind of fun foam or shelf liner. So I'm just going to cut that to size so I can have that. And it just makes it that little bit easier to do. Cut that off a little bit more. Apply. And I will off camera use my glue and give it time to heal, but right to cure. But we'll just show you. You know, how lovely is that? And I still have this if I want to do it a little bit more randomly. But you tend to get a lot of it on your hands. The next thing that I want to do is I have these that I got from it was a rubber ball that had a light in it. When it bounced, the light came out and I just noticed the amazing texture on there. So I'm going to put it onto one of the cubes. I've had a variety of them and I just found that I wasn't using it. So because this has no stick on, no stick, I am going to use my Gorilla Glue because of course I really want this to stay, and I'm gluing plastic onto wood. So and again, with this, I can just put that curly Q in wherever I need it to go. See, I have others that I've taken off here. I may just save one for something else or use this with my jelly prints. But I find if it's not the full size of the jelly print, it doesn't work as well. So I'm going to let that dry. But maybe we could sneak a print before it dries. And there we go. So very, very, very nice. I wanted to I have these Fun Foam puzzle piece stamp, and I got this. I used Yvonne's Punch actually through the Fun Foam, and put it on, and it's not going to fit on that one. Maybe it'll fit on this one. So I'm going to put the sun on that one, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to do the 2 layers. And there we go. So I have this. So let's just see if all of this will now fit, because I could not have, I've got some of the die cuts, all my stuff. This one goes in there. Snowflake will be. I don't keep seasonal things necessarily in here. So now, there we have it. I have one container that has all my stamps.